Hello, fans of Let's Talk Chicago Bears. I'm back. How y'all doing? Well, as you can see today, I'm not sitting at my stage like I usually do because I am visiting family. So I'm out of town, and I wanted to give a shout out to my son because he could not join me on this trip because he has to work. In Vegas, there's not a lot of work. So he's a personal trainer, so if he doesn't work, he don't get paid. So he had to stay back and work. But he's staying at my house to keep it safe and watching my little buddy Elvis. So shout out to him. Awesome. Okay, so yeah, that's why, although you see up there is a picture, I'll show you, of Soldier Field, because my sister is a big Bears fan as well. So I'm in her Bears room. There's Bears stuff all around me. Her husband, unfortunately, is a Packer fan. And there's a room that I don't have to sleep in, and it's the Packer room. The Packer room. I said, yeah, if I slept in that place, man, I'd probably have nightmares. So I'm like, yeah, I'll pass on that. So yeah, let's talk Chicago Bears and Jags. So this is week 15. 2 games left. One this week and one next week. So we do play the Jaguars. We've only played them 7 times because they are fairly new to the league. And the Bears have won 4 and the Jags have won 3. We are very close in every category pretty much. The Bears are 7-7. This is the only difference. The Bears are 7-7 and the Jags are 1-3. 1-13. So, but otherwise, we're pretty close in a lot of the categories. So we'll start out. So the passing yards for the Bears, they have 225 average a game, which puts them at 22nd in the league. They are rushing now. They've moved up. If you pay attention, they're averaging 100 yards a game, which is great. Although it only moved them up to 24th, so other teams must be rushing up and down the field. They have scored an average of 23 points, but in the last 2 or 3 games, they've scored 30 points plus. But that puts them at 22nd in the league. And then points allowed, they have only allowed 22 points a game, and that ranks them 10th. So that's a good thing. That's about the biggest difference with the Jags and the Bears. So the Jags' passing yards is actually a little bit better. They have 233 yards, and they are 20th in the league. They rush for 99 yards, so they're 26th. So you see we're just a couple points different there. Here's where we change a little bit. Points scored, they're averaging about 17 points a game, and which ranks them 30th in the league. And points allowed, and this one I really like, is their defense is allowing 33 points a game, which puts them 30th in the league. So maybe Mitchell can really take advantage of that. If our O-line continues to play the way it has been, I mean, the last couple of weeks I've been like, it's almost like it's a new line, don't you guys think? And because I've been plugging in some young guys and some other guys, and whatever it does seem to be working. So we'll just be happy about that, right? One stat that we'll go. So the Bears' overall offense ranks 24th in the league, and our defense overall ranks 10th in the league. We've got the Jags beat on both of theirs. Their overall offense is 29th, and their defense is 30th. So we got them beat on that. So defensively, we're way better than they are. So that's in our favor, and let's hope it stays that way on Sunday. One thing I noticed that I have never talked about, but the Bears rank number 1 in kick punts and returns. This is something I've never mentioned before, but I thought that was kind of a good thing. And I am sure that, well, we have a great punter. We know that. And actually, we have a very good field goal kicker because he's been kicking the lights out of the ball. So our kicking team this year has not been the problem at all season. So that's one less thing we got to worry about. Really, 2 out of the 3, as we've talked about, the defense and the kicking team have been good. It's the offense that's really screwed us, as we know. So Mitchell, let's get to Mitchell. So Mitchell, I forgot to write how many games he's played, but I want to guess he's played about 7 or 8 games now. This might be his 8th full game. And he's got 14 touchdowns with 6 interceptions. So that is really good. And he has 1,538 yards. So the touchdowns to interception ratio has gotten better for him. David Montgomery, our running back, number 32. Awesome. He has 906 yards and 6 TDs. So if they continue to run the ball, which they should do on Sunday, he's going to pass 1,000. He should be past 1,000 now, but we all know until Bill Lazor started calling the plays, they weren't running the ball much. So I really want to see Montgomery get over 1,000 because I think he well deserves it. Allen Robinson, our wide receiver. He has 6 touchdowns, 1,110 yards. He's just rocking it. And then, my other favorite guy, number 11, Mr. Mooney. After last week's game, I really want to see him getting some more targets this week because I, again, think he is something special. I think we're going to be talking about him years to come. The Bears defense has 33 sacks. And I want to see that go up as well. I think we can get to them. The Bears they're getting a taste of it again, and they seem to be really, doing well there. So let's hope that they keep that up. I'd like to see some sacks. So now the Jags. Now, they've had 3 different quarterbacks this season, and we certainly know how that feels because we've been there and done that. So Gardner Minshew, which is number 7. Everybody knows him because he kind of came into the league last year and his mustache became more famous than he was. He has 259 yards, 2,259 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions, which is pretty darn good. But he's only played 7 games so far because he did get hurt. And then the next person who they put in when he was hurt, the first quarterback was the rookie, Jake Luton. And he is number 3. His number is, and he has 624 yards. He has 2 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Not a good ratio, and he has played 3 games. He ended up getting benched for Mike Glennon. Remember that nightmare, Bears fans? Oh my God. That was one of Pace's biggest stupid ass pickups because they paid him a lot of money and he was just awful when he played for the Bears. I mean, that guy, he's like a deer in headlights, And so Mike Glennon is with them, as I said. He's number 1 on the team. That's his number. Certainly isn't number 1. He has 600 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions, and has played 4 games. So not a good ratio there. But this week I read that they have not as of today, Thursday, they have not named a quarterback for Sunday's game. So I'm doing this show a little early. So as you know, I don't know who's going to start. The coach of the Jaguars said he is leaving it up to the competition this week in practice who's going to start. Now, after just reading you those numbers, if Minshew is healthy, well, you got to play him. 16 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. I say play him. But what do I know? I'm an old lady, and I just do a talk show. But this is an interesting fact about Mike Glennon, which just makes me laugh. I can't stand this guy. But Glennon, the Jaguars signed Glennon in the offseason on May 12th. Then they released him on September 5th. Then on September 7th, 2 days later, they signed him to the practice squad. And then a day after that, September 8th, they put him on the roster. Okay, whatever. So, you know what? Regardless, I think Minshew was probably going to be the starter. And if that's the case, the Bears are going to have their hands full a little bit more. But if they play the way they've been playing the last couple games, as you know, you keep the penalties down. Under 5, as you know, and they've been doing that. And you make no mistakes. Mitchell doesn't make any. He threw that 1 interception last week. It didn't hurt us, and he was just playing lights out because he's running the ball and he's playing his kind of football finally, right? And our D, we need to get after Minshew. If we can sack him, we're gonna make him throw in at least 1 interception. I guarantee it. So I'd like to get some more turnovers. But if we get in his face, because he hasn't been playing much, because he's been out for a while, I think we can make him cause some turnovers. So let's hope. I wanted to give a shout out to Nichols on our defensive line, 98. He has been playing lights out. I don't think he's been getting the credit he should, um, but but he's really good. He's like our kind of like our little secret. And and the Pro Bowl. My son and I were talking about this. You know, Mac and Patterson have been signed to the Pro Bowl, and my son said, "How come Roquan Smith wasn't on there?" And I said, "Probably because the Bears haven't been winning, so they're not really watching." Which I think he's another secret we have. We don't want people to know about. Those two are really good. Roquan's just awesome. You see him more and more each game as the seasons go on. He's somewhere around the ball unless it's being passed. But if it's not being passed or short passes, he's around the ball and rushing and then going after the quarterback. But with him and Nichols, I'm very, very happy. And actually, Mac has actually woken up. I think he's feeling better because Mac has been on the injured list every week since the season started. So, but they're just, again, it's a double-edged sword here because the Bears win, they go down in the draft pool. So, but we're Bears fans. We always want them to win, right? So I think the Bears have a good chance. Right now they should beat them. There's just no ifs, ands, buts about it. But this is 2020, and we are talking Chicago Bears, right? So, anything could go. But let's see. I just don't want there's two things. I want a good draft pick. I'd love to be able, as I've talked about Zach Wilson from BYU, I'd love to get him. But I just hope we do a good draft. But the bottom line here is Nagy's got to go. Now, I've had some comments on my show about Pace. And actually, honestly, maybe they should just get rid of somebody. And somebody brought this up, and I thought it was really good. If worse comes to worse, what you do is you get rid of Ted Phillips, who's been there forever. They claim he's not involved with the everyday policies and everything that goes on with the game, but I find that hard to believe. So somebody suggested we fire him, get a football-minded person now, because he never was. He just grew into that role. And then you can keep Pace, because he is young, and we do say he does draft from 2 to 5 really well. So he's gotten some good drafts. I mean, they're coming out now. So I could live with that as long as he fires Nagy. Nagy, we need out of there, because whether we keep Mitchell to a prove-it contract or we get another quarterback, we get another young quarterback, Nagy's just going to screw him up like he screwed Mitchell up. So we need that guy gone, because Nagy has a policy of his way or no way, and we all know it. And then he says the same shit before and after every game, and I'm just tired of it. So I could live with that. Phillips out, give Pace another chance at drafts and stuff, and then get rid of Nagy. And then next year we'll see what happens after the draft, and if Pace does well, then we'll keep him. I'm fine with that. I just want to win, okay, like we all do. So let's go Bears. All right, so to end this the week, because there's not a lot to talk about because the Jags are kind of boring, and this game is in Florida, I believe, but I'm going to tell you a story. So back in the early 80s, it was probably 82, I want to say, and this is right before the Bears started getting good again. But back in the 80s, there used to be an NFL rule, and honestly, I don't know if it still exists, but there was an NFL rule. If the home team did not sell out their tickets, the game was not broadcast on local TV. So if the Bears didn't sell out in Old Soldier Field, which was larger seating, because now I think, what does it seat? Like 60,000, and it was close to 70,000, if not more, the Old Soldier Field. So it wouldn't be on TV, so we wouldn't be able to see it, which would really piss me off, because they put those rules back then in the day where football wasn't as popular as it is now, and they wanted people to go to the stadiums, because all teams make more money if you go to the stadiums, with the concessions, the tickets, the parking, and the beers, right? So there is this one game, and it was in September or early October, because it was still warm enough. So the Bears did not sell out. They weren't selling out back then in the 70s and 80s all the time. So believe it or not, now they always sell out. So anyways, I had this small TV, so it wasn't on TV, and I'm like, God, we live close to Wisconsin, so my husband and I thought, well, we could go over to a bar and try to catch it there. if we found a bar that played more than one game. Now, this was in the 80s, and this was before early 80s. Every bar had 10,000 TVs in it. They didn't do that back then. They had one. So if we would have went to Wisconsin, they would have been playing the Green Bay game. So we thought that's not going to work. So I took the little 13-inch, I guess it was, TV. And then back then, they still had antenna ears. We used to call them rabbit ears, but they were antennas, and they'd go like that. And so I took it. I put it close to the window. I opened the window, and I stuck the antenna ears out the window. I'm not kidding you. I had the TV right in front of the window. The antennas were sticking out, and I just started going around on channels. Back then, there wasn't a million channels either. We didn't have cable back in the early 80s. So I found it. It was fuzzy, but I found it. It was close to watching, like if you turn on a porn channel you didn't pay for, you know, that fuzziness. It's kind of like this, but a little bit better. So, and my husband and I sat in front of this little TV and two little chairs for 3 hours watching the game. Wasn't all that comfortable, but we saw the game and the Bears won. And don't ask me who they played because I don't remember, but I know they won because I remember saying, well, at least we got a win out of this because that was a tough game to watch. But hey, a Bears fan, when they want to watch their team, they're going to do anything they can. Nowadays, it's almost, it's just, you're always going to find a game on somewhere because there's TVs everywhere. But back in the day, when I had to walk 300 miles uphill to school and then 300 miles uphill home, back in the day, us old people. So, but honest to God truth, I did that and we watched the game. So that's my Bears story for the day. So listen, it's Christmas Eve is tomorrow, and then we have the game on Sunday. I'll do my show on Monday, and then we'll go from there. So as always, I want you all to stick together. If anybody needs any help out there, help out your neighbor, help out your friends, and let's all stick together. This year is almost frickin' over. Thank God. 2020 has totally sucked. We have a bright future coming in a couple weeks because we'll be in a new year, and and have a wonderful holiday. Just everybody party the next 4 days. Let's have some fun, and we'll end it with a Bear victory. What do you say? Okay. Now, usually I end the show by saying, my usual logo of keep on rocking and rolling from Las Vegas, Berber. But I'm not in Las Vegas. So I'm going to say happy holidays, go Bears, and keep on rocking and rolling from Nashville, Tennessee. Love ya. Bye-bye.